Is maybe build-wise is still very much a primary school build.
To stay in the younger sizes, Sawyer relies on a low-fat diet, and she exercises if she sees any extra weight on the scales.
If she put on maybe 2 or 3 pounds, she would be totally aware of that, and then she would come into her room, sit-ups, trying her clothes on, they're a little bit tight, more sit-ups, go, just generally, she would start doing more jogging, more things to get back into the clothes and to get her weight back to sort of what she thinks is acceptable.
You're growing though as well, aren't you? So you're going to put weight on.
It's worrying that girls see a healthy adult figure as unattractive. Sawyer needs to keep gaining weight so her body can develop and she can start her periods.
The fat deposition that girls have, which is part of puberty, is about fertility, and it sort of unlocks, it's part of this sort of mechanism that starts periods, and so they can become childbearing, literally become adults. But of course, girls putting on fat at the age of 12, 13, 14 is the last thing that they want. In an anti-fat society, you're suddenly gradually putting on fat. But it's biologically normal. It's desirable.
As long as she has just a thin coating, as she calls it, of skin over the bone, she'll be happy. She won't be happy if she's got fat covering the bone. And I do think that if she put weight on, I think she would feel that everything that she's worked so hard on would be lost.
Doubt how much children worry about their weight and at what point it becomes a problem. I've come to Scunthorpe to see 15-year-old Katie, who's choosing a dress for her school prom.
Right, let's have a look in the mirror, see what you think.
I feel like skinny.
Katie's been highly conscious of what others think of her appearance ever since she hit puberty and her weight worries began.
Quite a lot of her friends and that hadn't developed as quick, so they started picking on her slightly, saying that she'd got big thighs or big boobs, and so she started eating less to try and lose a little bit or slow down a little bit, but you can't slow down your natural growth, can you? So, and that's when she started more or less getting really faddy with her eating and dieting, really.
I used to push everyone closest to me away and just sit by myself and cry and just, think of all ways of getting rid of it and stuff, like dieting and stopping eating.
We've got a problem with the diet word and a sort of and a misunderstanding between healthy dieting and unhealthy dieting. Now, by unhealthy dieting, what we're talking about is the use of extreme behaviours such as fasting for a day, vomiting after eating meals, the use of laxatives. Within a single year, 50% of adolescent girls have used one of those unhealthy dieting practices.
When I get up in the morning, I'd go down and get some breakfast, or if I wasn't hungry, then I wouldn't go get any breakfast, and then I'd get to school and I'd have chewing gum all day.
Katie started to dabble in unhealthy weight loss strategies.
I was told about different ways of trying to make yourself sit, sticking your fingers down your throat or a toothbrush or whatever.
Where did you find out about how to be sick?
My mates told me, some friends told me at school when they was doing it.
Over the last 18 months, Katie's lost a stone in weight. Her mum noticed when she started fainting and has been struggling to find the right way to approach it.
I went to see the doctors and they referred you to health visitors or school nurses, but they give you leaflets and say they're there for you, but they don't really help. They don't actually sit down. Who can tell you what to do and how far to talk to your children about it before you feel that you push them overboard?
I try, if I can, eat at different times, so there's no one watching what I'm doing and that, but my mum's trying to watch what I'm doing now, she knows.
Are you going to eat your Yorkshire pudding today? Talk to me.
To me, she's moaning at me and always on at me, saying, "Oh, you've got to eat, you've got to start eating, and you're not eating enough." And it just made it in the way everyone is always on at me for not eating.
Do worry about you now. I'm not pressurising you.
Yeah, well, it seems like you're nagging all the time.
I know. Don't mean to nag, I think we all worry about you. You can say something to her one day and she's fine, and another day she'll just walk out and slam the door and go upstairs and you don't see her. I don't want Katie to get to a stage where she force eats and then goes away and goes to the toilet. It's hard being a mum. It's really hard knowing how to do it all the time.
During my research, I've spoken to lots of parents who are concerned that their children are using unhealthy weight loss strategies, but aren't sure whether it's something that could develop into a more serious eating disorder.
It's really hard to spot an eating disorder, particularly at the early stages, because in a really cruel way it mocks lots of the things that we would expect adolescents to do anyway, to want more privacy, lock their bathroom door, undress in the privacy of their bedroom, not want to join family meals. All of those things that would, pass unnoticed actually could be the start of an eating disorder. So it's really tricky to see at the early stages.
I was admitted to hospital when my weight sunk to 5.5 stone. I was kept in bed and watched for 24 hours until I reached 3/4 of my healthy weight. It took 2 months. This is my old bedroom.
My commode was there, so I went to the toilet in the commode there. And I had a wash bowl, an orange wash bowl on top of like a dresser. And then all the time there'd be somebody in the corridor with the door open just watching me. And then they used to bring food in and watch me eat it and take it away. But they'd always be watching you, whatever they'd be watching you in the corridor. And even at night, they'd close the door for the light, but they'd put a newspaper in so it kept ajar, so they could hear you if you did anything like exercising.
Now the treatment's more liberal. Bed rest is no longer the norm. Patients eat together in a communal dining room and are encouraged to make choices about food much earlier.
You don't want to remove all the control from young people. You want to try and give them control in areas other than eating, so that they feel they have some say over their lives, because that's one of the other theories of anorexia. It is about taking control of something because you're not feeling in control of anything else.
That's exactly how 14-year-old Naomi feels about anorexia.
I find it hard to imagine life without it or the future. I find the future quite scary. You've got the control with the illness and you just want to keep some control of things.
The confusing thing is Naomi often uses this word, being in control. She wants to be in control. And I feel completely out of control now, as though I haven't got any control of my daughter in what she eats.
After being discharged from an inpatient unit, Naomi hasn't been able to eat, and her parents are finding it hard to help her.
I feel like I'm neglecting her.
Yeah, but then if we do try and do it, we just end up with a really awful atmosphere in the house.
Naomi's parents and brother Wesley are on their way to a carer's workshop to learn ways to help her recover at home. They'd hoped that hospital would make her better.
Because people are often desperate when their daughters come in for inpatient care, they then think we're going to have magical answers. And no, we don't. We are very good, and inpatient units in general are very good at putting weight on. But they're not always good at dealing with the psychological issues. The family are the major therapeutic tool.
Sometimes it's having those skills to manage the symptoms that you're actually living with, because an eating disorder has a profound effect on people within the family.
I've just become so frustrated and angry because I've tried so many different strategies.
So how do you think frustration and anger affects Naomi?
Well, it depresses her. She goes into such a deep depression. This is why at the moment I'm stepping back.
Like I did, Naomi feels anorexia is a part of her and controls her feelings through a strong internal voice.
The voice tells her how bad she is for giving in and how fat she's going to be and how many calories and fat was in what she's had, and that your parents are just making you do it, and you shouldn't take any notice of them.
And I've asked Naomi, why is it that you obey the voice but you won't obey us? Why is it that it's got more control of you than we've got?
I suppose it's because it's part of her, isn't it?
Yeah.
This concept that Naomi might have.
I don't know,
not
why
sure.
can't she just disagree with it?
Because the voice is too strong, Wesley.